What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about how to send 1,000 cold emails per day without landing in spam. This is the new updated guide for 2025. Without further ado, let's begin. Before we dive in, let me introduce myself first. My name is Pablo Malandu. I'm the founder and CEO of Vintascale, a B2B lead generation agency. So here's the reality of cold email. Most businesses fail to grow because they lack a steady stream of qualified prospects. This video will show you how to send 1,000 targeted cold emails every single day without hitting spam. I wish I knew the stuff that I'll be sharing in this video. I really mean that. I have included every single eureka moment that has allowed us to get to this level of sending north of 1,000 emails per day. And you can get to this point in the next 24 hours, but to get here, I need you to think very deeply about everything we talk about in this video. Think about what you might not be doing or what you might be doing too much of. Each step we go through in this video is utterly essential to your success. You will not get results with cold email if you cut corners on any of this stuff. My promise to you is that by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to create and operate a system that brings consistent buyers without worrying about spam, deliverability, inboxes burning, etc. So a bit about where we are at. So we're currently sending over 1,000 emails per day and documenting our journey every step of the way. It took us a while to crack the code at this level. We started off with, I want to say, around 500 emails a day. We maintained that for a while. That was tough. And then now we're at a lot more than 1,000 emails per day. So it's important that we share everything that we've been learning, because again, I wish I knew this when we first started. This might save someone else some time. And it's also important to see where or how things have evolved for us as we look back. We track this so that we can create standard operating procedures, a bunch of other stuff for the agency. Cold email is a volume game. So more emails equals more leads, which equals more meetings when done correctly. The key is you have to start paying a lot more close attention to every part of the process, because when you go from 500 to 1,000 emails a day, things can break twice as fast, and things like targeting, copy, offers, spin tags, all that fun stuff matter twice as much. So here's a reality check. I know this video is titled how to send 1,000 cold emails a day without hitting in spam, but here's a reality check. Your inboxes will burn. You have to get over that. Nobody does this cleanly, perfectly. The people who send 1 million emails a month, they're just making enough in income to buy new inboxes all the time and to have a bunch of inboxes all reserved. They're just recycling inboxes all the time, probably at the same rate that you're doing it. Expect your inboxes to burn eventually. When I say eventually, it could be in a month, it could be in 2 weeks. It could be by the end of this week. Expect your inboxes to burn. Do not be scared of this. It's just part of the game. Charge it to the game. Expect it to happen. Expect it to like the same algorithms that cause your inboxes to burn are the same algorithms that allow you to send emails in the first place with Google and Outlook and SMTPs. Be grateful for these algorithms. Expect your inboxes to burn, whether it's due to email service provider changes to their algorithms in Gmail or Outlook, or bad copy or poor offer, because maybe you're testing things. Your inbox is burning is not. It's a sign that you're doing something, which you should be proud of. Inboxes burn faster with higher volume. So the more emails you send, the faster they're going to burn. And this was a big mental This was a big mental hurdle for me to overcome. And then I realized the goal is just to make inboxes last as long as possible, stretch out their lifespan. But if they die in 2 weeks, they die in 2 weeks. It'll be more expensive, yes, but you won't be out of business. if you do the right things. It's not the end of the world, but you need to experience this happening to figure out why it happened and to get better. It's like riding a bike. You'll wobble, you'll fall, but eventually you'll get used to riding at this new speed of 1,000 emails a day. There are certain things you couldn't see at 100 when you were sending 100 emails a day that you now have to think about and consider. Always have backups. We'll talk a lot about best practices in this video, but let's dive right into this. So the core principle is volume equals results. Why do we want to send 1,000 emails a day and beyond? It's because the more emails we send, the better results we get. Even if your reply rate is 0.2%, the more emails you send, the more meetings you will get. So let's send as many emails as possible, no matter how good we are, no matter how skilled we are. Let's just send as many emails as possible. Just do it. Just do it. If people don't know your business exists, they can't buy. Cold email is fundamentally about getting in front of more eyeballs. It's fundamentally about how many emails you send a day. You know how successful an agency is by how many emails they send a day. That is why the claim to fame for a lot of these guys, even beyond who they've worked with, because sometimes we can't comment on which clients we worked with because of privacy and anonymity, but the claim is, oh, our agency sends 1 million emails a month. Why? Because that's an indicator of success. It's linear. It's linear. You can be the worst copywriter in the world, but if you're sending 1 million emails a month, you're making a ton of money. You're making your clients a ton of money. You want to do something, you want to get your client results, buy a ton of inboxes, because you might be nervous about whether your campaign strategy is going to work or your offer, whatever it is. Just send more emails. Send more emails. It's the answer to everything, every problem you will have running a lead generation agency that specializes in cold emails. Just send more emails. It's the same thing as if you were doing cold calls. When I was cold calling as a account executive, just make more cold calls, you get more results. Make more cold calls, you get more results. I was a top performer because I made the most cold calls. The more prospects you reach, the higher your chances of finding interested buyers. If you take nothing away from this video, take this. Send more emails. Send more emails. Stop doing the thing. I regret doing this. If I could start over, I would have done it differently. Don't do the thing where you only send 250 emails a day because you want to wait until you get a 2.5% reply rate. You might not get a 2.5% reply rate because you don't have enough leads. You're not sending enough emails to make this statistically significant. It's just send more emails. If you're going to write anything down, it should be that. Now, all of this stuff matters. Every slide matters. Think of every slide we go through as a piece of a puzzle, a piece of a larger puzzle. Infrastructure and deliverability. Just think about it this way. You just want to mimic human activity. When it comes to infrastructure, deliverability, you want to just mimic human activity. Everything must look as human as possible. Everything. This is why sometimes I even make purposeful punctuation mistakes, or I purposely don't capitalize certain things. Everything must look as human as possible. If you're a beginner, don't set this stuff up yourself. Just get your inboxes with someone who sets them up for you. So like a scaled mail or premium inboxes or Inboxology, or just, get them with, I haven't used Hypertide, but I know they do that too. Have the inbox providers set everything up for you. You don't want to mess this stuff up. You just don't. Use Google Workspace or Microsoft 365/Azure inboxes. Do not use an SMTP unless you are more advanced. We are actually trying out an SMTP right now with AeroSend. We won't go deep into SMTPs because we really don't have any data, but we are testing out AeroSend, so I'm excited for that. AeroSend is built on an SMTP. But anyway, the very, very important basics around your sending strategy. Don't send 1,000 emails from one account. Don't send 1,000 emails from one account. It sounds like obvious stuff, but it's important to be said. Do spread across multiple domains and inboxes. We'll talk about how to do that. Send conservatively per inbox if you can. I'm at a point right now where I'm just going to blast it, because the opposite advice there is to just use a volume you're paying for, which I totally agree with. But if you're starting out a campaign, or if you're just coming out of warm-up, send conservatively. Send conservatively. If you have no clients, blast it. If you do have clients, if you do have a whole operation going, send conservatively. To stretch this out, but just blast it. You learn more from the faster feedback of information. When I say send conservatively, we're talking about 15 to 20 emails per inbox. I mentioned that we use scaled mail, and it's a different kind of setup. So it's you have plans with 4 domains and 49 inboxes per domain, which adds to about 196 inboxes. And the most we send per inbox is 5, so it adds up to 1,000 emails a day. 200 inboxes, 5 emails a day per inbox, kind of thing. Not to confuse you, but there are different setups. Is the whole point of that. Send conservatively if you can. 2-step email sequences only, max 3. No 4, no 5, no 6, no 7. No, the money is in the follow-up. Nothing like that. If you're not getting responses to that second email, there shouldn't be any follow-up. There should not be any follow-up. If you do get somewhat of an interested response, then you follow up to infinity until you get a clear yes or no. Vary both your domains and your usernames. That's basic, but a lot of people don't follow that. This is just very basic 101 sending strategy, and what you should be doing as you're watching this video is checking off mentally or on paper, are we doing this, yes or no? Are we doing this, yes or no? Because doing that process, and I have all my notes in a folder of all the, I'm going through all these YouTube videos and best practices and stuff like that, and noting down, are we doing this, yes or no? Oh, here's where we're going wrong. And you realize that the leak happens, the deliverability leak, the spam leak happens in one little part of the process that you didn't really think about, or you thought about, but maybe not deeply enough. So DNS records, very basic. This video wouldn't be done correctly if we didn't touch on this. You don't need to be a wizard or a scientist or know how any of this stuff works. You do need to have these set up correctly, and you do need to verify that these are set up correctly. SPF, DKIM, DMARC, MS records. How you verify that these are set up correctly, because again, if you're a rookie, I mentioned have someone else set this up for you, someone else being your inbox reseller or provider. If you're going to set these up correctly, there are step-by-step guides for every email service provider you can think of. So when I say that, I mean Google and Outlook. There are step-by-step guides out there. It's really hard to mess up. But even when you do set it up, you should go to mxtoolbox.com. mxtoolbox.com, and you can then verify each inbox you created with each email address you created. You can verify one by one if all those are set up correctly. You go to mxtoolbox.com, you input the email address of the inbox, hit enter, and it'll let you know, check mark, or XX, if all these are set up correctly or not. Do that. It's important. When it comes to infrastructure, do not cheap out on this. They all have their ups and downs month by month. Well, some are doing really well, some are not. Because sometimes, some months Google's doing well, some months they crack down. They're not doing well. Sometimes Google's doing well, but a Google inbox reseller is not doing well. So don't cheap out on these tools. Diversify them if you can. We're currently using Scaled Mail. Highly recommended. We're not affiliated or partnered with them. We've tried premium inboxes in the past, and we're very open. We very well might integrate them again into our setup. And we are currently testing AeroSend. So that's our email sending infrastructure. The key takeaway, it really doesn't matter what we're using. At a high level, every piece must be perfect. Every piece has to work. It has to fit together. There cannot be the fact that, you didn't set up your DNS records properly, or the SPF, DKIM. This stuff has to be done right. Basics. You should be able to sleep at night knowing with 100% certainty that that's all set up and that you're using a reputable inbox provider. Don't cheap out on this stuff. They're all genuinely good, but don't cheap out on this stuff. So now let's talk about the first place where people go wrong, is putting their lead list together. You think this is easy? I mean, it's easy to do. It's difficult to get right. This, once I made sure, I obsessed over like the spin tax and the copywriting, stuff like that. There's two places people mess up that kills their deliverability that nobody really talks about, because it feels like you're getting it right when you're not. First place is putting your lead list together, which we'll talk about now. And the second is a mismatch between the offer and who you're sending it to in this lead list, because that will just not get you replies. If you don't get any replies at all, then that hurts your deliverability, because Google and Outlook, they see, oh, nobody wants this email. Nobody's responding to it. Let's talk about building a list. So this is the first place 99% of people, probably you, mess up at. Or they get it right, but not as good as they should. List building causes 99% of deliverability problems, assuming all of this other stuff is done correctly. You're using the spin tax and all that fun stuff, and you've warmed up for 2 weeks, and you have a decent offer that's proven to work in the market. It's this lead sourcing, or putting the list together, lead building. What we do is we use Apollo almost 100% of the time. We validate with Mailtester Ninja. We only validate once. We don't do the 3-step validate. We validate once. Pick one good tool and just validate. We validate with Mailtester Ninja. Why we started validating with Mailtester Ninja? We were using another tool, I forget the name, and then we were double verifying with Mailtester Ninja. When I say verifying, I mean making sure that these email addresses actually exist and that they don't bounce and they're not catch-alls. We use Mailtester Ninja as a second layer of verification, and it was catching all the ones the first tool wasn't catching. Then we switched that around, and Mailtester Ninja was catching all of them, so we had no need for the second tool. And so we just stuck with Mailtester Ninja, and our bounce rate is ridiculously low. Our bounce rate on average is under 0.5%, sending 1,000 plus emails a day. That's insanely good. That means we're working with a really, really clean lead list. How you build a lead list, this deserves its own video. I'm pretty sure I have a video on this, but I will continue to put out videos on this, because you can never be perfect at this. We do the regular filtering in Apollo by job title, company size, tech stack, location, things like that, lookalike companies. The most important thing is the right company or the right industry with the right company size, headcount, employee headcount, and then the right titles based on the company size. So the right industry, you might be in financial services, with the right company size, based on what your offer is, based on your experience working with clients, how much you can actually help. 5 to 10 meetings a month would not help a company of 500 employees. So we don't go after companies with 500 or more employees, right? So our offer has to match up with the company size, and the job titles have to match up too, because a company with 500 plus employees, you're not going after the CEO, you're going after perhaps the director of a certain team in a certain region. It is 10 times better if you can go for a sub niche. So financial services, within financial services, perhaps we're going after wealth managers or financial advisors. Even better than that, financial advisors for B2B startups, rather than just a general niche of just financial services. Or rather than just SaaS companies that support law firms. Don't do this, is just an example. This is if everything else is correct, Your infrastructure is set up correctly. You're sending a conservative amount of emails a day. Your copy is good. You believe your offer is good. Your offer is working for other people. They're getting responses. It's this. Congratulations, I just solved most of your problems. It should be obvious. It should be obvious, but to send 1,000 emails a day, you're going to need more leads. You're going to be scraping a lot more leads. This is where people mess up. Their targeting becomes weak. It becomes diluted because they need more leads. They're scraping more and more leads, so it's less and less targeted. And the misalignment between their lead list and their offer becomes bigger and bigger, making the emails they send less and less relevant, which means less and less replies and more of their emails marked as spam, because the email has very little to do with the people they're sending it to. And then your reply rates drop, obviously, and your emails start going to spam, and then your inboxes and domains burn. This is exactly how it goes. This is exactly how it plays out. It's in this order. This is the conclusion of our research for the past 4 months that we've been obsessed with cracking this and figuring it out. I'm going to read this again because it's so important. This is what's happening if you're having deliverability issues. This is what's happening. Assuming everything else is set up right, this is what's happening. This is the summary of this slide that we just went over. It should be obvious, but to send 1,000 emails a day, you're going to need a lot more people to send this stuff to. And then this is where everything breaks, because you're getting a ton of more people to send this stuff to, right? A lot more people. But the targeting becomes weak. It becomes diluted because you're sending it to so many more people, right? So now naturally there's this misalignment between their contact list, all these people they're sending it to, and the offer that was originally, it's not a mass market offer. It was originally meant for a smaller pool of people. There's misalignment between the people they're sending it to and the offer that they have. And that misalignment, that gap grows bigger and bigger, making the emails that they send less and less relevant, which means less and less replies and more of those emails marked as spam, because the email has nothing to do with these people anymore. It gets to a point. And then your reply rates obviously drop in the process, and your emails start going to spam because nobody's replying to your emails. And then your inbox is burned because nobody's replying to your emails, and you're cranking out all these emails. Nobody's answering to them. And then that compounds. It compounds. And this is exactly how it goes. So now let's talk about what we do about this, right? In terms of cold email sending tools, your tools have to, we recommend SmartLead, but whatever you use, SmartLead or Instantly, you can't go wrong with either. It just has to support Spintax, rotating inboxes. Look for load balance sending across accounts. So SmartLead automatically divides all the emails you send equally by the amount of inboxes you're using in that campaign. Spintax, funny because it feels like a joke, but you should take it seriously. Remember, all this stuff matters. All this stuff adds up. You don't want to go to spam. You got to do this stuff. It's all layers. It's a layer cake. It's a layer cake. Each layer is important. You just have to make sure you can check off each slide, each layer, knowing that you got this covered. You're incorporating this stuff, so we can rule this stuff out. If you are going to spam, it has nothing to do with the fact that you're not using Spintax, because you are. Use Spintax for every line, everywhere you can, from the greeting all the way to the sign off and your signature. Create unique variations. So when you're doing A/B testing, if you're not, create unique variations to avoid spam detection, right? You can't be too safe with the Spintax. Just include it. Just do it. Just include it. Now, how you actually know you're going to spam. This is how you actually know. It's really simple. Ignore all the noise. This is how you actually know. The primary indicator is you're not getting any replies at all. Not even the not interested replies or the out of office replies. Right? You're not getting any out of office replies. You're not getting any automated replies. you're getting a bunch of bounces and stuff like that. But if you're getting a lot of sender bounces as well, something's wrong on your end, right? But that's the primary way. Is just you're not getting any out of office replies or responses. I remember our first campaign that we launched ever, we got a ton of out of office replies and no thank you and unsubscribe me from this list, remove me from your list. And then about 3 or 4 campaigns later, by the end of the week, we weren't getting any. And I thought something was wrong. Well, clearly something was wrong. We were ending up right in the spam folder. This is a very important subtopic. This is one of the things I wish I had heard when I first started. At the end of the day, your deliverability is affected most by people hitting spam, by people not replying to your emails. Assuming you've passed the Google and Outlook spam folders, which if you're not using spammy language and you've warmed up for 2 weeks and you're not sending a crazy amount of emails per inbox, it's pretty easy to do. You can assume that you're not getting hit by the algorithm spam filters, right? So that's pretty easy to get around. So if you're getting around that, at the end of the day, your deliverability is affected most by people hitting the spam button and or not replying to your emails. So just write good emails with a good offer to the right people. And how you do that is you test a lot, which means you're going to burn through a lot of inboxes. There's nobody who does cold email at a high level who has skipped that part of burning their inboxes and fighting with deliverability. There's nobody who sends 1,000 emails a day who hasn't gone through this stuff and isn't continuing to go through this stuff. But like I said, they just buy more inboxes. They have backups. You write good emails by looking at examples of other good emails on the internet. You learn what a good offer is by looking at examples on the internet of what a good offer is. You learn how to target better. You learn how to find the right people by continuously testing. And by looking at how other people on the internet who do cold email at a high level build lead lists. There are tons of examples on my channel and other channels about what good emails and good offers look like and how to build high converting lead lists properly. You should at least be getting no thank you responses or I'm not interested responses. If your emails are going through, if the targeting is somewhat right. The right targeting can save a standard offer. Offer is most important, but targeting also matters a lot. Now, things to consider. At 1,000 emails a day, you will need to think about rotating your inboxes. So keep a few on reserve. Segmenting your inboxes by campaigns. Advanced targeting strategies, which deserves another video, but we're talking about lookalike companies. We're talking about sub niches. Competitors, funding rounds, things like that. Offer optimization, so perhaps introducing an intro offer, framing the offer, guarantees, risk reversals, thinking more deeply about that, changing up your campaign strategy, so lead magnet campaigns versus direct pitch versus more information and Loom campaigns, things like that. I say all this to say you're going to have to start thinking more deeply about all this stuff, which you'll naturally start doing when you start sending 1,000 emails a day, which is why I think a great piece of advice is you just jump into it. Just force yourself to start sending that many emails a day. Now, here's the mentality that you need to have at this sending volume. I would make the jump if I were you. If I could do this over again, I wouldn't start at 250 emails a day or even 500 emails a day. I would make the jump. I would start at 1,000 emails a day. I'd make the jump to 1,000 emails a day as quickly as possible. At the end of the day, you just need to do it. Nobody gives you permission. You shouldn't be waiting for permission. I would not wait until you get it right. Meaning, I would not wait until you're consistently hitting 2% reply rates consistently at 100 or to 500 emails a day before deciding to jump to 1,000 emails a day. I would just start at 500 or 1,000 emails a day, ideally 1,000, or just get there as soon as possible, as soon as your budget allows for it. Why? Because if it's going to break, it's going to break. Let it break. Let this stuff burn and crumble. There's nobody who's sending 1,000 plus emails a day who's not going to spam. Sorry if the title's clickbait. This is just the reality of things. It's how you manage it. It's how you stretch things out. It's how you stretch out the lifespan of your inboxes. You probably won't get it right the first time. It's better to learn what it takes to compete at this level quickly. And the best way to do that is by doing it. The lessons you learn sending 1,000 emails a day, you do not learn sending 500 emails a day. You just don't. At 500 emails a day, you don't need to rotate inboxes. There's so many things you don't need to incorporate at 500 emails a day that you do at 1,000 or 2,000. You only learn what those are by sending that much. Why do you want to send that much? Because the more emails you send, the more meetings you get. The more meetings you get, the more deals you close. The more deals you close, the more money you make. And the more people you can help. And the more testimonials you can get. It's a totally different game at 100 emails a day versus 500 versus 1,000. So just start at 1,000, let things break. Let yourself stumble and fall without training wheels. There's no other way to learn this stuff. You can watch as many YouTube videos as possible, but I wish someone had talked to me about this part right here. The psychology of sending cold emails is what I'm really, really big on. Now let's talk about what you should be looking for. A very low bounce rate. When I say low, definitely under 3%. If it's over 3%, pause the campaign. Ours is 0.5% on average. I mentioned this earlier in this video. And we achieve that just by, in Apollo, we exclude catch-all, so we don't scrape any catch-all emails. We only want verified emails. So those are two filters in Apollo that you can select. And then from there, we just use Mail Tester Ninja. And that's it. Ideally, you want a 2% reply rate. Anything above 1% is cool, but you ideally want 2%. Even if it's negative responses, that's fine. We just want to make sure we're in the game, that we're not in spam. If you got a response, whether it's out of office or not interested or remove me from your list or unsubscribe, at least you ended up in their inbox. I can't say for the next time, but at least that time you did. At least for today, we know we aren't hitting spam. Our deliverability is okay. You want your inbox health to stay as high as possible. So keep your warm-ups on and stuff like that. Like the warm-up stuff, the warm-up I didn't even cover it in this because it's just so standard at this point. But 1-to-1 ratio at least between warm-up emails to cold emails sent. Response rate of your warm-up emails at 65% plus. That's it. Keep it simple. And then, of course, you want a steady stream of positive replies. Let's just say at least 15% or more so that you can actually get meetings. In terms of tools, we covered this, but Google or Microsoft for your email service provider. Your inbox provider, we use Scaled Mail. We've used premium inboxes in the past. We're currently testing out AeroSend. You really can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. Lead sourcing, Apollo, we're excited to try Hypertide soon, by the way. Email validation, Mail Tester Ninja. You can use Lead Magic, Million Verifier. I've heard good things about those as well. Sending tool, we use SmartLead. We've used Instantly, but we just prefer SmartLead because of all the integration features, and they have a new nice CRM system now and stuff like that. The DNS setup, we set ours ourselves, but if you're just starting, I wouldn't set it up yourself. I would have someone do it. So Scaled Mail does it on your behalf. Premium Inboxes does it on your behalf. Right? AeroSend does a lot of the stuff on your behalf. That's what we're using. So what is the difference between what we're doing now that allowed us to start sending 1,000 emails a day versus what we're doing at 500 emails a day? Here's the whole thing. Here's how we made the jump. We just bought more inboxes and just started sending. That's how we went from 500 emails a day to 1,000 emails a day. Is we just bought more inboxes and started sending. And how we went from how we stopped ending up in the spam folder. We still do. We just don't end up in spam most of the time. Eventually, you will end up in spam because your inboxes will burn and stuff like that. We just don't end up in spam as much because of all the other things in this video. So it's not so. Go to YouTube, type in the title of this video, and see all the other videos that have a similar title. And they say without landing in spam, we don't land in spam. Everybody lands in spam. Everybody lands in spam. even from your personal inbox, personal emails you send to people, to your cousin or something, it'll end up in spam. Like, you just things go wrong in this game. You just don't land up in spam as much when you get the targeting right and you've thought about these things a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper. And your inboxes last a little longer and a little longer and a little longer, but nobody's inboxes stay alive for forever. So the mindset you need to have to send 1,000 emails a day is to just do it. Just get more inboxes right now, as soon as your budget allows for it. Don't wait for the perfect reply rate to buy more inboxes. Because what happens is you're going to start sending 500 emails a day, waiting for a 2.5% reply rate, and then it doesn't happen because you're not sending it to enough people, or enough of the right people, and you're not, because you don't know enough about what works or what doesn't, because you don't send enough emails. So it takes you so long to figure out the right targeting and the right offer and all this stuff, because you're not testing as frequently. You need to send more emails and let it crash. You need to jump on the bike and start pedaling and stumble and fall and scrape your knee. You need to scrape your knee and get hurt and bruise your elbow to know what works. You've done enough testing. You realize you can't ride this way, and you can't just be lazy with your spin tags and your copywriting. It'll force you to get all this stuff dialed in. We talked about the infrastructure and sending conservatively, the sending strategy. We've talked about the tools that we use personally, and that I would say you should use as a minimum. We've talked about how much email quality matters. That's the hidden secret of deliverability. The hidden truth is that people just aren't responding to your emails, or they're marking them as spam because the emails are not good, because they're not relevant. The offer is not good, or it's been overplayed. It's played out. The reality is your inboxes will burn. It's expensive, but it's not going to kill your business. It's not going to end your business. It's not the end of the world. Even if you have to take 2 weeks or 3 weeks off to start again, it's not the end of the world. Final things to think about: every piece of the puzzle has to work at scale. It has to work. List building, targeting, cleaning your leads, verification, that stuff all matters. You'll just get better and better and better and better at the stuff. You just have to force yourself to that level. You have to just go to 1,000 emails a day. Just start doing it. And you'll see how all this stuff starts to fit together, and you'll see that you'll be a lot more cautious of the things that you're doing and where you probably were cutting corners before. Because that's things that didn't matter at 100 emails a day really matter at 1,000 emails a day. No spammy language. Use the spam word checker, and fortunately it does matter. It does matter. Clean the company names, stuff like that, and double check this stuff. Double check the preview of the emails before you send it out. Send test emails to yourself. Avoid the catch-alls, the non-existent emails, like all the basic stuff. Paying attention to your bounce rates. That stuff all matters. But I hope I cracked the code for you. The secret sauce is that nobody's going to give you permission to just start sending 1,000 emails a day. You just have to do it. The people who brag and say we send 1 million emails a month, they just send 1 million emails a month. If you really think about it, that's it. It's a really baseless statement. We send 1,000 emails a day because we just decided to start sending 1,000 emails a day. That's why. That's it. We just bought more inboxes, and we did the math, and we're like, okay, we need this many inboxes, sending this many emails a day at a conservative amount. How many inboxes do we need to buy? And that's it. Now we can say we're an agency that sends 1,000 or 2,500 or 3,000 emails a day. And it just means we're going to have to spend more time sourcing leads and be very careful to do that in a way to where it doesn't dilute things. That's it. I hope I cracked the magic and pulled the curtains on this whole thing. So I hope this video helped. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you run a B2B business and you need help setting up your cold email, running your cold email, getting 5 to 10 new new sales meetings a month on your calendar with qualified prospects, on autopilot. We can do that for you. Hit the link in the description to book a free strategy call with us, and we'll see how we can help, and we'll see if we're a fit. All right, guys. See you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace.